As the sun dips below the Aravalli Hills in Rajasthan, the Archaeological Survey of India enforces a strict, non-negotiable rule. Every visitor must leave the Bhangarh fort, and the heavy iron gates are locked shut for the night. Tourists who push their lock near dusk frequently report the exact same symptoms. They hear disembodied voices echoing from the empty stone corridors. They feel sudden, sharp drops in temperature and experience an undeniable sensation that someone or something is watching them from the ruins. Local folklore points to a very specific culprit. According to the legend, a dark sorcerer, enraged by unrequited love for the local princess, cast a final, devastating curse as he died, suddenly dooming the entire thriving metropolis to collapse entirely overnight. We know from modern physics and biology that ghosts do not exist. There is no supernatural entity hiding in these shadows. Yet, the physiological reactions visitors experience here, the spiking heart rates, the cold sweats, and the absolute terror, are entirely real, measurable events. If we eliminate the supernatural, we are left with the fact that something tangible in this environment is actively generating a highly localized panic. To understand what is happening to these visitors, we have to look at the architecture of the fort itself. The layout of Bhangarh is massive, an endless maze of ruined stone structures, domed towers, and narrow alleys spread across a sloping valley. Before stepping through the gates, tourists pass government warning signs about staying out past dark. This triggers a biological process called psychological priming. Entering a dangerously designated space preloads threat expectations. Sensory input bypasses rational filters, routing straight to your amygdala. Then, your visual cortex struggles with ambiguous shapes in the rubble, relying on pareidolia to force random patterns into recognizable human figures. These optical illusions combine with a specific acoustic phenomenon. As evening sets in, wind currents funnel through the geometries of these narrow, ruined corridors. The stone channels compress air, generating infrasound, low-frequency sound waves below human hearing. You can't hear them, but your body absorbs the energy. 18 Hz infrasound vibrates the eyeball, causing distortions, and triggers direct biological responses like hyperventilation, shivering, and unexplained dread. The crumbling stone and narrow alleys of Bhangarh inadvertently form a perfectly designed acoustic and psychological trap. It is an accidental machine that exploits the limitations of human biology to manufacture terror. If no sorcerer cursed this valley, we still have to explain the physical debris. Looking at the sheer volume of broken masonry and collapsed stone homes raises a different question. What actually annihilated a city of this size? Archaeological records show that Bhangarh was not wiped out in a single evening. The collapse of the city was a slow process that stretched over decades, which contradicts the local myth of an overnight curse. By the 18th century, the region was hit by severe, repeating droughts. The agricultural systems failed, and massive famines gradually choked the population. Residents were forced to abandon their homes in a desperate search for food and water. The remaining population was eventually displaced by successive military conquests. The reality is a grim sequence of slow starvation, political instability, and geopolitical collapse, rather than the dramatic tale of a dark magician. The ruins we see today are the remnants of a desperate exodus. The tragedy of Bhangarh was a catastrophic failure of resources and immense human suffering on a mass scale. These ruins document how human societies process the aftermath of mass trauma. The legend of the sorcerer acts as a cultural defense mechanism. It was emotionally easier for the generations that followed to blame the destruction on a single villain. Giving the tragedy a face made it manageable. Accepting that nature can be entirely senseless, uncontrollable, and brutally cruel is far harder to digest. Applying scientific and historical scrutiny to these ruins does not erase the impact of the site. Instead, it grounds the location in the genuine struggles of the people who built these walls. Bhangarh remains a site of profound unease, not because ghosts are real, but because the walls are the final physical evidence of the thousands of people who lived here and ultimately died trying to survive.